Have you ever felt consumed by someone's words or actions? Maybe it was a betrayal, a harsh comment, or simply their presence that disrupted your peace. But what if I told you that no one can hurt you unless you allow them to? We often believe that our pain is caused by others, that their actions have the power to shake us, that their disrespect defines us. But Stoicism teaches us a different truth. You are in control of your emotions. You decide whether to let their negativity consume you or whether to stand firm in your power. Pain is not something that others give to you, it's something you accept. When someone insults you, you decide whether to take offense. When someone betrays you, you decide whether to let it destroy your peace. You are not a puppet, and they are not your master. The only person who controls how you feel is you. This is the essence of Stoicism. Happiness and inner peace don't come from external events, but from how we respond to them. You cannot control what others do, but you can always control how you react. In this video, we will explore 11 Stoic principles to help you handle difficult people without letting them disrupt your life. These are not just strategies, they are mindsets that will allow you to face negativity with strength, wisdom, and absolute composure. Comment below. I choose peace over negativity. Share your story. How have you dealt with difficult people in your life? Like, share, and subscribe to Victory Stoic so we can continue to build unshakable resilience together. Let's begin. Number 1, you control your emotions. No one can hurt you unless you allow them. Imagine you're walking down the street and a stranger yells something insulting at you. Do you stop and let it ruin your day? Do you replay their words in your head, feeling a burning anger rise inside you? Or do you simply keep walking, unaffected, as if their words never existed? This is the essence of emotional control, understanding that you alone decide how much power someone else has over your mind. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, external events do not dictate your emotions, your perception of those events does. Someone can insult you, betray you, or try to bring you down, but their actions have no real weight unless you allow them to disturb your peace. Think about this. If a child calls you stupid, you probably wouldn't take it seriously. Why? Because you don't see their words as credible. But if a close friend or family member says the same thing, it suddenly feels personal. The difference isn't in the insult itself, it's in the meaning you assign to it. When you recognize that your reaction is entirely within your control, you strip away the power of those who seek to harm you. Let's take another example. Someone at work constantly tries to undermine you, spreading negativity and criticizing your every move. If you react emotionally, arguing back or feeling defeated, you've given them what they wanted: control over your state of mind. But if you remain composed, recognizing that their behavior reflects them, not you, then they lose all influence. You walk away unshaken because their words belong to them, not you. This principle is not about suppressing emotions, but about mastering them. Instead of reacting impulsively, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Does this change who I am? The answer is almost always no. When you realize that no one can force an emotion onto you, you unlock a level of mental strength that few ever achieve. So the next time someone tries to disturb your peace, remember this. You are the gatekeeper of your emotions. No one enters unless you allow them. Number 2, don't walk away from a relationship just because you're hurt. Pain is inevitable in human relationships. Whether it's family, friends, or romantic partners, at some point, someone will disappoint you, say something hurtful, or fail to meet your expectations. But does that mean they are undeserving of a place in your life? Should every wound be a reason to walk away? The answer is not always as simple as we think. Imagine this. You have a close friend who suddenly cancels plans at the last minute, leaving you frustrated and feeling unimportant. Your initial reaction might be anger or resentment. How could they be so inconsiderate? But what if, instead of assuming malice, you paused and considered other possibilities? Maybe they were overwhelmed with personal struggles they didn't share. Maybe they weren't trying to hurt you, but rather dealing with something that had nothing to do with you at all. If you leave every relationship at the first sign of discomfort, you may end up isolated, blaming others for wounds that were never intentional. In contrast, some people genuinely do not deserve a second chance. Those who repeatedly betray, manipulate, or show no effort to make amends. The key is distinguishing between a mistake and a pattern, between carelessness and true cruelty. If someone deeply regrets their actions, acknowledges their mistakes, and makes a genuine effort to change, dismissing them outright because of one painful moment may be a loss not just for them, but for you. Think about relationships that have lasted decades. They weren't perfect. They weren't free of arguments, disappointments, or misunderstandings. But the difference between relationships that survive and those that break is not the absence of pain. It's the ability to understand, to communicate, and to see beyond a single moment of hurt. If you expect a world where no one ever wounds you, you are setting yourself up for a lifetime of loneliness, walking away from people who may have truly cared, but were simply imperfect, just like you. This isn't to say you should tolerate mistreatment or allow toxic individuals to remain in your life. But before deciding to walk away, ask yourself, was this pain intentional? Have they made an effort to fix it? Could my perspective or past wounds be magnifying this pain? The answers will determine whether this is a relationship worth salvaging or a lesson in letting go. Stoicism teaches us that expecting perfection from others is a recipe for disappointment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You will meet ungrateful, dishonest, jealous, and selfish people today. Do not be surprised. Instead, recognize that they are simply acting according to their nature. No one, including you, is without flaws. If you walk away every time you're hurt, you may one day find yourself with no one left to walk beside you. So before you leave, pause, reflect. Ask yourself whether this pain is the result of a toxic cycle or a misunderstanding that can be healed. Don't throw away meaningful relationships for temporary wounds. Leave when growth is no longer possible, but not just because you felt hurt. Number 3, distance is power. Walk away if it helps you grow. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. Sometimes, no matter how much history you share with someone, their presence in your life is doing more harm than good. If being around them drains your energy, disrupts your peace, and keeps you stuck in cycles of stress and self-doubt, then it's time to ask yourself, is this connection still serving me? Imagine you have a childhood friend, someone you've known for years. You used to share laughter, dreams, and endless conversations. But as time passes, they change. Every time you meet, they complain about their life but never take action to improve it. They undermine your achievements, make passive-aggressive remarks, or constantly compare themselves to you. The connection you once cherished now feels exhausting, like a burden rather than a bond. You keep holding on, not because they make your life better, but because of the past. This is where Stoicism teaches a hard but necessary truth. The past does not obligate you to suffer in the present. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If a person's presence in your life consistently poisons your thoughts, lowers your self-worth, or prevents you from moving forward, you owe it to yourself to create distance. Leaving a relationship, be it a friendship, a family bond, or even a long-term romantic partnership, does not make you weak. It does not make you selfish. It makes you self-respecting. Many people fear walking away because they think it signals failure, as if ending a toxic connection means they gave up. But in reality, choosing yourself is the highest form of wisdom and strength. Think of it like pruning a tree. If a branch is diseased and harming the tree's ability to grow, you don't keep it out of sentimentality. You cut it off so the rest of the tree can thrive. The same applies to relationships. Keeping people in your life just because of history is like refusing to throw away expired food just because you once enjoyed it. But here's the key difference between running away from discomfort and creating distance for growth. You don't leave just because someone annoys you. You leave when their presence repeatedly disrupts your peace and adds no value to your life. You leave when conversations drain you, not challenge you. You leave when the weight of keeping them in your life is heavier than the benefit of their presence. Walking away doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you wish them harm. It means you choose your growth over their comfort. Some people are not meant to walk with you into the next chapter of your life, and that's okay. The real mistake is staying in a place that no longer nurtures who you are becoming. So if someone in your life is keeping you stuck, if their presence is a source of constant negativity with no room for resolution or improvement, then it's time. Not to cut them off in anger, but to step away with peace, because your growth matters. Your peace matters, and no relationship is worth sacrificing the person you are meant to become. Number 4, be rational. If you leave just because of pain, you'll end up alone. Walking away from toxic people is necessary, but walking away from everyone who hurts you is self-destruction. If you expect to find someone who will never disappoint you, never make mistakes, never cause you pain, you are chasing a fantasy. That person does not exist. Life is full of imperfect relationships with imperfect people. No matter how much someone loves you, they will, at some point, let you down. Your best friend might forget your birthday. Your partner might say something hurtful in an argument. A family member might fail to be there for you when you need them the most. But do these things define their entire character? Or are they just proof that they are human? Imagine two people. The first walk away from every relationship the moment they feel hurt. They never give people the chance to redeem themselves, and ever try to understand the situation from another perspective. With each goodbye, they believe they are protecting themselves, but in reality, they are building a prison of isolation. The second person, however, knows how to evaluate pain with reason. They ask, was this intentional? Is this a pattern or a one-time mistake? Have they shown remorse and tried to fix it? If the answers suggest that the person genuinely cares and is willing to grow, they don't walk away, they work through it. Stoicism teaches us that emotions, especially pain, can cloud judgment. Marcus Aurelius advised, give yourself time and space before reacting. Let reason, not emotion, decide your course of action. Pain is real, but it is not always an indicator that a relationship must end. Before you decide to cut someone off, pause. Ask yourself, am I reacting impulsively, or is this truly a sign that this relationship no longer serves me? Have I communicated my feelings, or am I assuming they should just know? Is this person willing to work on the issue, or am I dealing with someone who doesn't care? Some people are truly harmful, and they must go, but others? They are just flawed humans who are learning, just like you. If you leave every time you feel hurt, you may find yourself alone, not because others were unworthy, but because you never gave them the chance to be human. Walking away should be a last resort, not the first response. If you choose to leave, do it because the relationship is stagnant and damaging, not just because you are momentarily wounded. Choose logic over impulse, reason over raw emotion. Because in the end, the strongest relationships aren't the ones that never experience pain, they are the ones that overcome it. Number 5. Revenge is a waste of your energy. When someone wrongs you, the most instinct is to strike back. Your mind floods with thoughts of teaching them a lesson, making them feel the same pain they caused you. But here's the brutal truth. Revenge does nothing for you, except trap you in the past. Think about it. The time you spend plotting how to hurt them back is time you could be using to heal, to grow, to move forward. Instead, you are stuck, reliving the hurt over and over again, giving them more control over your mind than they ever deserved. Stoicism teaches us that the best revenge is no revenge at all, only success, indifference, and self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. If someone disrespects you, retaliating only lowers you to their level. If someone betrays you, wasting energy on payback only keeps you tied to them. True strength is walking away with your dignity intact, knowing their actions do not define you. Imagine someone spreads lies about you at work, trying to ruin your reputation. You could waste your time fighting, counterattacking, and obsessing over their downfall. Or you could remain calm, let your actions speak louder than their words, and let time reveal the truth. Which do you think will lead to greater peace? The choice is yours. Waste energy trying to destroy them, or invest it in rebuilding yourself. The first keeps you in a cycle of pain, the second makes you untouchable. Number 6. Don't let the past define your present. Painful experiences shape us, but they should never control us. If you constantly define yourself by what happened to you, who hurt you, who left you, who failed you, you are giving your past the power to dictate your future. Think about a person who was betrayed in love. If they let that betrayal define their future relationships, they become guarded, cynical, and incapable of trusting again. They punish new people for the sins of the past. They are no longer living, they are just surviving, stuck in old wounds. Stoicism teaches that what has happened cannot be changed, only how we react to it. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of things." You are not a victim of your past unless you choose to be. Ask yourself, am I letting an old wound control how I see myself today? Am I defining myself by past pain rather than present potential? Your past may have shaped you, but it does not own you. You decide who you are today, not the mistakes you made, not the betrayals you suffered, not the failures behind you. The past is a lesson, not a life sentence. The only way it holds power is if you keep carrying it. Let go, step forward, and reclaim your life, because the future belongs to those who refuse to live in the shadows of yesterday. Number 7. Set clear boundaries. You are not a doormat. Boundaries. A concept so simple, yet so terrifying to those who thrive on making your life miserable. The moment you start saying no, the moment you refuse to be the emotional punching bag, the moment you stop answering their late-night emergency calls that somehow always involve their drama and never yours, you become the bad guy. But let's get one thing straight. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time, energy, or peace of mind. Picture this. You have a friend who only reaches out when they need something. At first, it's small favors, a ride to the airport, borrowing money. They promise they'll pay you back. But before you know it, they've somehow managed to turn your life into a 24/7 customer service hotline. They dump their problems on you, expect immediate emotional support, and then disappear when you need help. And if you dare to push back, suddenly you're selfish and not a real friend. This is where boundaries save lives, your life. Stoicism teaches that you are responsible for protecting your peace. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." In other words, if someone is draining you, it's not because they have some supernatural ability to control you. It's because you're letting them. Let's be clear. Setting boundaries is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of self-respect. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, manipulates you, or uses you, you don't need to talk it out for the 100th time. You need to step back. Not everything deserves a confrontation. Sometimes, the best response is distance. Boundaries are simple, but people who don't respect them will make them feel complicated. They'll call you mean for not answering their calls at 2 a.m. They'll accuse you of changing when you stop tolerating their nonsense. They'll guilt trip you into thinking that cutting them off is the problem, not their behavior that forced you to do it. Here's a fun exercise. Imagine your peace of mind as an exclusive VIP lounge. Not everyone gets in. There's a dress code, respect, an entry fee, reciprocity, and a strict policy against drama. If someone keeps showing up drunk on entitlement, slamming doors with their toxic behavior, or stealing from your energy bank, you have every right to kick them out. The truth is, the people who get the angriest when you set boundaries are the ones who benefit the most from you having none. And that, my friend, is all the confirmation you need. So the next time someone tries to test your limits, remember this. You are not a 24/7 gas station for people's emotional breakdowns. You are not a free therapist. You are not an unpaid assistant in their self-inflicted disasters. You have every right to close the door, hang up the phone, and walk away. Because at the end of the day, you are not responsible for managing everyone else's chaos. You are responsible for protecting your peace. Number 8, don't let the past dictate your present. You're not a prisoner of yesterday. You know, the past, that lovely, ever-haunting time machine that refuses to let go. One betrayal, one heartbreak, one act of cruelty, and suddenly every new person you meet is guilty until proven innocent. Did someone hurt you before? Well, everyone is just waiting to do the same. But let's be honest, living like this is exhausting. Imagine you were once cheated on. The pain was real, the betrayal cut deep, and now every new relationship feels like a ticking time bomb. You become a detective in your own love life, analyzing every text, questioning every delay in response, overthinking their every move. Not because they've done anything wrong, but because someone else did. Or maybe you had a friend who used you, drained you, betrayed your trust. Now when you meet genuinely kind people, you assume they must have an agenda. You hold back. You keep your distance. You convince yourself that letting people in is just an invitation for history to repeat itself. But here's the truth. The past is a lesson, not a life sentence. Epictetus said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." The pain you experienced was real. The betrayal was real. But continuing to carry that pain into your future is a choice. Think of it this way. If you were burned by boiling water, would you avoid drinking any liquid for the rest of your life? Of course not. You would learn to handle it differently. You would be cautious, yes, but you wouldn't deprive yourself of something essential just because of one bad experience. The same applies to relationships. Not everyone is your past. Not everyone will betray you. Not everyone will take advantage of you. And if you continue to punish new people for the sins of old ones, you are choosing to stay a prisoner of the very pain you wish to escape. Stoicism teaches us to accept what has happened, learn from it, and move forward with clarity, not fear. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Forget everything else. Keep hold of this alone and remember it. Each of us lives only now, this brief instant. The rest has been lived already or is impossible to see." In other words, you only have the present. Why waste it reliving old wounds? Here's the reality. The past cannot harm you anymore. Only your attachment to it can. If someone hurt you before, don't let them keep hurting you by holding on to that pain. If you refuse to trust again, if you build walls so high that no one can reach you, then you are the one keeping yourself trapped, not them. So take a breath. Let go of the fear. Approach new people with the wisdom of experience, not the chains of past wounds. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by what you choose to do next. Because at the end of the day, you don't live in the past anymore. So stop acting like you do. Number 9. Every insult is an opportunity to master your composure. The world is full of them. From a passive-aggressive comment at work to a full-blown online attack, people love to test your patience. And what do most people do? React, defend, argue, get offended, feel the urge to prove something. But what if I told you that every insult, every criticism, every attempt to provoke you is a gift? Think of it like this. Imagine someone walks up to you and says, "You have green hair." Would you be offended? Probably not, because you know it's not true. But if they say you're incompetent or you'll never succeed, suddenly you feel something. Why? Because there's a part of you that fears it might be true. Stoicism teaches that insults only have power if you give them power. Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." In other words, people can throw words at you all day long, but you are the one who decides whether they land. Now let's make this practical. You're at work, and your boss publicly criticizes your performance. You feel humiliated and defensive. Your ego screams for retaliation. But instead of reacting, you pause and ask yourself, is this criticism true? If yes, use it as a lesson to improve. Is this an unfair attack? If yes, their opinion doesn't matter. Or imagine you're in a heated argument, and someone hurls an insult meant to trigger you. Instead of playing their game, you stay calm. You look them in the eye, nod, and say, "Interesting perspective." Nothing frustrates an aggressor more than their target refusing to react. Training yourself to remain unbothered is like training in a mental gym. Every time someone insults you, instead of taking offense, see it as a workout for your emotional resilience. Think of it as lifting a heavier weight in the gym of life. The more you practice, the stronger you become. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. What he means is that you have the final say over what affects you. Not them. Not their words. Not their opinions. You. So the next time someone insults you, smirks at your failures, or tries to get under your skin, take it as an opportunity. Instead of reacting, breathe. Instead of defending, observe. Instead of giving them power, take it back. Because the moment you stop letting insults control your emotions, you become untouchable. Number 10. Don't react immediately. Let your emotions settle. Emotions are like storms. The stronger they are, the less you can see clearly. When anger, frustration, or hurt take over, they distort reality. They make you say things you regret, make choices you wouldn't have made in a calmer state, and turn small problems into full-blown disasters. But here's the truth. Most things don't require an immediate response. Imagine receiving a rude message from someone. Your fingers itch to type a fiery comeback to put them in their place. Or your boss criticizes your work unfairly, and your first instinct is to quit on the spot, storm out, and make a dramatic exit. But if you wait, if you just give it time, you'll realize something incredible. The urge to react fades. The insult loses its sting. The need to prove yourself disappears. The situation doesn't seem as big as it did in the heat of the moment. Stoicism teaches us that nothing is as urgent as our emotions make it seem. Marcus Aurelius said, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" In other words, your reaction to a situation often causes more damage than the situation itself. Think about arguments in relationships. How many times has a fight escalated because someone responded too quickly, fueled by anger rather than stepping away to think? Imagine a couple in the middle of a heated argument. One says something harsh, the other immediately fires back, and before they know it, the fight isn't even about the original problem anymore. It's about winning. If just one of them had taken a moment to pause, to breathe, to think, the whole conflict could have been avoided. Or take the workplace. You receive criticism that feels unfair. Your first instinct is to argue, to defend yourself, to prove the other person wrong. But if you wait, if you let the initial surge of emotion pass, you might realize there's some truth in their words. Or maybe you'll realize their opinion doesn't even matter. Either way, you win, because you didn't let a temporary feeling create a permanent mistake. Epictetus advised, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. You are not a puppet, and your emotions are not your master. When something upsets you, train yourself to do one thing. Wait. Give it an hour, a day, even just 5 minutes. You'll be shocked at how different things look with a little space. So the next time someone provokes you, insults you, or challenges your patience, don't give them the satisfaction of an instant reaction. Instead, pause. Let them wonder what you're thinking. Let them sit in the silence. Because the person who controls their emotion controls the situation. Number 11, only leave when it's the right choice, not when you're just running away. Walking away can be an act of power or an act of escape. The difference? One is a conscious decision, the other is an emotional reaction. If you leave something or someone simply because you're hurt, without evaluating the situation with clarity, you may just be running from discomfort rather than deciding for your growth. Imagine a person who quits every job the moment they face criticism. They tell themselves, "I deserve better." But in reality, they're avoiding challenges, not seeking improvement. Or think of someone who ends every relationship the moment things get difficult, assuming that love should never involve struggle. They think they're protecting themselves, but really, they're just avoiding the work that real relationships require. Pain is not always a sign that you need to leave. Sometimes it's a sign that you need to grow. But how do you know the difference? You ask yourself one simple question. Am I leaving because this situation is truly harmful and stagnant? Or am I leaving because I don't want to face the discomfort of growth? Stoicism teaches us to act from reason, not emotion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." This means that your choices should come from wisdom, not impulse. Because once you leave, you cannot undo it. There are times when walking away is the absolute right decision. If you are in a toxic relationship, if someone repeatedly disrespects you with no sign of change, if a situation keeps you stuck, small and drained, then yes, leave. Not because of a momentary wound, but because you know, deep in your core, that staying would mean betraying yourself. But if you are leaving just because something is uncomfortable, if you haven't communicated, if you haven't tried to improve the situation, you may not be leaving for the right reasons. You may just be running, hoping that peace exists somewhere else, when in reality, peace is something you must build within yourself. So before you go, pause. Ask yourself, Am I running or am I evolving? Have I tried to fix what's broken? Or am I expecting an easy way out? Is leaving an act of self-respect or an act of avoidance? Walking away can be powerful, but only when it's a choice, not a reaction. So don't just leave to escape discomfort. Leave because you've outgrown the place you used to fit. Conclusion: take control, not just escape. You cannot avoid negativity in life. People will test your patience, disrespect you, and challenge your peace. But what truly matters is how you respond. The power is always in your hands. Whether you walk away or stay, react or remain composed, allow someone to disturb your peace or remain untouchable, that choice belongs to you. Not every situation requires your energy. Not every battle is worth fighting. And most importantly, not every exit is an act of growth. Leaving should be a decision made with clarity, not just because of momentary pain. Stoicism teaches that true power comes from mastering yourself, not controlling others, not running from discomfort, but standing firm in wisdom and restraint. So, the next time someone tests you, remember this: choose peace over anger. Choose logic over impulse. Choose growth over avoidance. Comment below: I choose peace over negativity. Share your thoughts and your experiences, and let's build a community that thrives on strength and resilience. Like, share, and subscribe to Victory Stoic for more insights on mastering your emotions and mindset. Your peace is yours to protect. Now go and live as if nothing can shake it.